Well, gather around, children. We gotta have a serious heart-to-heart. Dan here, do speech up. So, I'm gonna do something on the channel which I've never, ever done before, and we're switching gears, which I'm excited for. And I thought I'd do a video to kind of explain where I'm going. It's not really asking for anybody's approval, but it's to avoid the sticker shock. And what we're gonna do, which is very unique to us, we're gonna spend some money on a car for once, which is very unique for me. Up until this point, I've had a few bits and pieces I've spent money on. You know, I think this thing has a rebuilt transmission in it, which was like $1,000 or something like that. And that was just like, in my mind, you take a gamble on a junker for a few $100s, or you buy a rebuilt one and you're good and it's good forever. And, you know, I put the Holley Terminator kit and a couple of things in an LS. Well, it was like, I forget, it was 1,600 bucks Canadian or something. And that's real money. But at the end of the day, it's simple. It saves you time. By the time you cut down a harness or buy a harness and get it programmed and all the screwing around, you're kind of halfway there anyway. So it's kind of like justifying in my own head, time versus money, and time is worth something. I've never in my life just spent money on high-end parts to make a car kind of perfect in my own mind. And that is what I'm going to do. Now, the reasoning is we want to do a bunch more travel, and it's been a dream of mine for a long time, and we really opened our eyes last year on Power Tour. We've done the Vegas vacations, you've done the 1 week in Cabo type deal, but what I enjoy is road tripping in the US. And to do that in a rental car or a new car or whatever, I just don't think I have the same feeling as doing it in an old hot rod. And we did it last year in that 57 Chevy with no overdrive and 350 or whatever it was gears. And it wasn't bad, but the thing was buzzy and annoying and all that sort of stuff. So a proper drive line that's going to cost a bunch of money is one thing, but I always kind of in my own mind, I would justify, I wouldn't spend that money because that 57 Chevy we took was a 4-door chopped into a 2-door, so you just can't put more money in the drive line than the car is worth. At least that's how I was thinking. Well, now we have a car that, even though it's kind of ratty, it's probably one of the rattiest Nomads that's going to be on the road, if not the rattiest. Within reason, I'm sure there's guys that have pulled some absolute junker out with no floorboard, but I'm just talking about a gone-through car. This car, in my mind, justifies having a few dollars spent on it, and it all goes back. I'm going to blame my buddy Mike Cotton. So a few months ago, I was building that 56 wagon, and I was like, I'm going to take this on Power Tour. We're going to go try 5 Nats. We're going to go, I want to do all sorts of cruises, Route 66, PCH, all these things, And he goes, yeah, that's pretty cool, he says, but it'd be cooler is the Nomad, because no one ever sees a Nomad getting miles put on it like that. And I was mad because I was like, well, he's right. And then I was like, well, I've just spent a bunch of money on that stupid 56, but you know what? It's on the back burner. We'll still use it, obviously, but for now, the Nomad is what we're doing. So I have been scrimping and saving. We haven't bought any cars in a while, and I spent a pile of money on this thing. And all the parts are showing up hopefully the next week. So the whole month of April is like Nomad thrash. I pretty much threw the Visa card at this thing in the kitchen sink, and we're going to go EFI. I'm going to do a tunnel ramp EFI setup on it, Holley deal with a proper in tank, all-in-one EFI stealth tank or whatever it's called, or sniper tank, whatever. All the line, that'll all be dialed. I'm going to put the distributor in that'll control timing. It all talks to each other through the Holley Terminator setup. I mean, I love that Terminator kit. I got to say, it's been fantastic in the other cars. I believe it should be the same with this. It should have temp and oil pressure and O2 and all those things all on a little screen. So it'll be like as modern as it can be. And this motor here, it's a rather healthy small block. I mean, I don't know, it's a aluminum headed deal, but it'd be nice if it had like 350-ish horse, maybe a little more, would be sweet. So that's that. I've never done that before. I'm excited to try it out. I love tunnel rams. If you guys have been around for a while, everything I have ends up having a tunnel ram at some point, and I'm an advocate for them. But with the drastic temperature we have, it's spring right now and we still have snow on the ground, but it's a pain to tune them. So the idea of having an EFI tunnel ram is just kind of cool in my mind, so I want to try it out. And hopefully I love it, because I've paid for it, but so be it. The next big expense, well, we got to do an overdrive transmission. And I was toying around, oh, do I put a gear vendor in it, and blah, 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 and I was like, you know what? And this is where I blame a couple of buddies. Again, David Newburn and my buddy Josh, both of them run T56 6-speed transmissions in their 55, 57 Chevys. And I drove Josh's 55 a bunch last year, and my God, was it fun to drive. So I was hunting around, and I finally just said, you know what, screw it, call up American Powertrain. I got the TKX, which is their rather new, kind of muscle car only. It's not been in any of their cars. It's an aftermarket only transmission, 5-speed deal. It's not cheap, but luckily they have a pay-as-you-can plan for broke guys like us. Whole deal. I bought the whole kit and caboodle, bell housing, clutch, flywheel. It has a hydraulic clutch pedal meant for Tri-5. The cross member. They'll send you a drive shaft when you get the measurements. Everything. And I'm excited for that. Shifter. I am stoked. Be rolling gears in this hot rod. And then, so you have all the money in the motor. You have all the money in the transmission. Stock rear end. Well, these stock rear ends are definitely not known for being the greatest. I haven't ordered it yet, but well, we got to do a little tire fitment. That's what we're doing today or tomorrow, depending on how the video goes. I went out and bought these tires, which I think I showed in the last video. Mickey Thompson, these are street jobs. These were not cheap. They're $420 a tire. I mounted them up on a set of American Racing daisies, because what else would you mount them on? I want to put these on there. So these are 295 65s. What's on the car currently is a 315/60, so it's the same height but a little bit wider on the car, and it rubs the leaf spring just a little. So I'm hoping that these will fit nicely, and I'm fighting out if I want to do that leaf spring relocation kit or not. I do have one, but I've got more reasoning coming at you. So anyways, we're going to have the motor, the transmission, a slick big tire on it. We're putting a rear end in it. So I'm talking to the boys over at Quick Performance. They give me a quote on basically what I need, and all I have to do is call them back and let them know the exact width I want and if I'd like the purchase welded on or not. And if I do, I have to decide if I am narrowing the leaf springs or if I'm going to leave them in the stock position. Now, more reasoning coming at you. I have 6 Tri-5 Chevys. 6, that's a lot. But in my mind, this drive line will literally fit in any 6 of those cars. It will fit, I believe it's all the same as Nova, Camaro, which I also happen to have both of those. So if we ever wanted to change it, we could, or if I want to sell this car or do whatever, it's like a long-term investment. Wow, that sounded funny even just saying it out loud there to myself. But you know, what's the point in having money in the bank when you could have it in a transmission and rear end and motor in a car, right? So there's always that. I think it's not going to hurt the value of the vehicle, and ultimately to sell this thing as a roller, put a stock rear end in it, let it go down the road if I do get tired of it. But I got to say, I have kind of fallen in love with this car, which, you know, it's one of those things. How many Nomads come across in your lifetime? I haven't had I've had one opportunity and I bought it. Once it's gone, I feel like it's gone. So we're going to do a 4 9-inch out back, the whole deal, brakes, everything there, and kind of carry on. Now, what I'm currently fighting out, and unfortunately I'd like some advice, but I'm sure by the time this video comes out I'll already made my choice. There's a few cars out there that have really been impactful, obviously, in my life. The 2-lane blacktop, wheels and tires, was a big one. You know, miscellaneous 57 Chevys and all that, and obviously you guys all know Blasphemy, you know, Finnegan's Hot Rod. And that thing's been through a bunch of different iterations, and my absolute favorite, I'm not a drag racer, so obviously the fact that it's super fast right now and all those things, it's cool, but it's not my jam. But the second that thing, they started driving it when it had the naturally aspirated, you know, Hemi in it with a 6-speed and I think it's a 9-inch, steel wheels with, like, you know, vintage pie crust slicks, like just nose high stance, flat black, like a flat black wrap, like just so understated. That was my favorite look, obviously. And I'm thinking for the rear end, I should probably just, we'll see how these fit, but I should probably just go stock, leaf spring, width, stock width of the rear end itself, because that's 60 inches on these, or 59.5 or something like that, and that's the same as like Nova, Camaro, within a half an inch. And then again, all other 6 or 5 tri-5s that we have, so it could just nut and bolt in anything else, and then maybe have a set of custom steel wheels made to fit this car specifically to fill out those big wheel wells with this big tire. That's how my process is going. So that's what you're gonna be seeing a bunch of right away. Some stuff's already at the border, so I gotta run down there and get it, but some stuff isn't here for another week yet. So we're gonna, in this video, we're gonna go ahead and fit these wheels and tires. Hopefully they fit kind of nice. Again, being a little narrower, I think it might suck them into the car, which I don't really want, but I don't know. We'll plan that out, and then after that, this thing's getting blown apart. Again, it's getting blown apart, but you know, I want to take the whole front clip off. Motor trans out. I don't see putting the transmission in the car with the motor in. I mean, at this point, let's take it all apart, put it all together nice. I want to nut and bolt check everything on the front end of this thing, because it's been a while since I even touched it, and just make sure it's hunky-dory. There's no issues. I got a brand new set of fender well headers. Just these are old and they leak and stuff. Yeah, I mean, lots of odds and ends. We're going to I want to put a big rad in it. This little one might be okay, but I'm obsessed with cooling, especially, you know, I'd love to be in the, you know, Death Valley at 100 and some degrees out and we're cruising. I'm thinking air conditioning. I haven't yet. The Visa card needs a, it's being worked out, so we got to let that cool off for a bit. But to bolt on an AC under dash setup on a small block Chevy, there has to be a bunch of kits out there I can just spend the money and fix. And the last thing, you know, going on these road trips, having all new stuff, having overdrive and all that. I just visited Dave Newburn there, and we went to a Summit store. Man, I tell you. But you know what? That's one of those things that down there, if you have kind of a bunch of, I don't want to say stock parts, but common parts or readily available parts, a Visa card fixes anything. So if you're down somewhere and you lunch the rear end in a stock rear end like this, you're not finding anything new. You're looking for used junk, you're meeting people, you're doing whatever, and we'll get it back on the road. But it's not going to be right there in stock, versus if you know, screw up a center section in a Ford 9-inch somehow or some way, or do something, it's there, it can be fixed. You know, the Tremec stuff, that's everywhere. Everyone's having it in stock, ready to go. You can put her together. The clutch, all those things are all like off-the-shelf parts. Everything was in stock. Nothing was waiting. And that's exactly what I want. Then, of course, we got small block Chevy. I mean, if it cabs a fuel pump, it's a Holley, you know, bolt-in fuel pump, which is everywhere. Especially for in the US, everything will be available within a day, and we can carry on. We're not stranded. So, again, that's my thought process. You can't change my mind because I've already spent the money, and I'm excited. So hopefully you guys are on side and excited for me, and we can build this thing together. And ultimately, I'm building this sucker so I can go in the States and hang out with you weirdos who keep watching these damn videos. So that's where I'm going to leave it for now. I'm going to jack this thing up. We'll put it on the lift, and we'll see if we can pull a couple of wheels and tires. We'll go a little side to side, see what we got for a measurement. These are not drilled properly for the right lugs, I don't believe. But hopefully there's enough thread we can kind of put them on there and just put like a lug nut or something on the end just to see what they're going to look like. Not putting any real weight on it. Well, I guess I got to put a little weight on it. I'll put the those tall jacks on it or something, see what it can kind of do, see what it fits like. We'll carry on. So, next time you see this, it'll be in the air, sky high, like my Visa reads. Well, wouldn't you know, it's like a sign from above. Everything just kind of worked out. So, these rims are actually in much nicer shape. I paid up for these ones. These other ones are Murs, which I got, I don't know how long ago. But you know what? If you look at them, the back spacing is a little different. These are 8s, and these are 7s. So you can see by the dished lip. So it pushes everything out this way a little bit more. Now we could always put it back on here for that bulbous look, which I do enjoy. There's not, I mean, it's an inch. An inch is a lot, boys. But height-wise, we're identical. Ugh, hang on. You know? So that's all good. Now, we got this sucker on here, and fills the wheel well basically the same. And actually, it's a bit of an optical illusion here. The tire actually does go past in there, but it looks like it actually stops right here just by the shadow. So in person, it looks kind of cool. With the tire coming out, It's a little tight in there. This may have a little slash cut. And up in here, we have lots of room. I can fit my hand, and this lip we can roll if we have to, but I'm fairly confident. You know what? We'll just do this for myself. So I see what I'm editing, but you guys get to deal with it. I'll put a little bounce on it. But I think we're good. No, it didn't rub the tire. So that's okay as far as I'm concerned. And let's just take her up a level. Going up. Do 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 do. Listen to a lot of Johnny Cash lately, actually. So wish I could play a little of that in the song or in the show here, but them damn copyrights. Okay, now look at the room I have there. We'll go for a little walk over the flashlight. This worked out friggin' fantastical. That's a word, Canadian. Look at that. So we have, oh God, 2 fingers, inch and a half. So if I do stock width, stock purchase, this will fit in any Tri-5. These big meats will fit pretty much in there as far as I'm concerned. A small amount of trimming. We can always screw around with a steel wheel, which I do like the look of a steel wheel, but this will be fine. These tires, well, that's the other reason I went with these. These are street legal. These are street legal, you know what I mean? So, not these will be great in the snow or the rain or any of that stuff, but they'll be a whole heck of a lot better than those full-blown race slicks. I'm not gonna hit nothing, no. So, that makes my life much easier. Ultimately, we keep the same look. It'd be nice if they were tucked in maybe just a little bit more, but when you're dealing with 30, 40-year-old wheels, whatever these are, beggars can't be choosers. We could, now I could narrow the rear end like a 1/4 inch on each side. That's probably the way to go, 59.5, because that is, the more I think about it, 59.5 was Nova and Camaro. That would suck it in just a 1/4 inch on each side, save me a little bit, and then it would fit on anything else down the road. So that's what we're gonna do. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I know it's a bit of a talky video, but hey, that's the way it goes sometimes. Next time you see this thing, it's gonna be coming apart. Motor trans, all that out, rear end out of it. I mean, it's gonna be quite a process. We have the seats, I gotta go get those. So this seat actually has to come out. We're gonna redo these seats in this one for Danny's car. So we got new seats for this, like I got electric wipers. The only thing I don't have is a hood latch. We got hood pins though, so worst case we'll do that. Thanks for watching. Stay along for the journey. I really appreciate the views. Honestly, you guys all have a small part in this car by watching those terrible ads and subscribing to the channel and just give me the comments on all those things. It keeps me going, and honestly, it keeps the bank account out of the red zone most months. And I get to buy stupid shit and do hot rods with my buddies. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.